As Jason said, my name is Stephen Flynn. I lead developer relations for the Angular team. I've been on the team for about 3.5 years at this point, which means I joined at some very, very interesting times, right as AngularJS was starting to become Angular. So I have seen a lot of things in my time, and I've seen a lot of success, which has been very, very fortunate for me. Really, I have two missions on the Angular team. The first is to help developers and businesses be successful with Angular, and second is to understand what it's like to be a developer out in the real world, so we can reflect those needs onto the team, right? It's not just about talking, it's about listening. And for the Angular team, for our entire history, part of why we've been so successful is because of the amount of listening that we've done throughout everything we've done. And so I'm really, really happy to be a part of that. So on the team, I do a whole bunch of things. So I manage our GDE program, which is our expert certification program. I manage a lot of our enterprise relationships. Right now we're making, like, for example, a big push to get people to try out IDE, which we'll talk a little bit later about. So if you ever have thoughts about the Angular experience for new developers or experienced developers, definitely reach out to us, because for me, we're definitely here for everyone. So we're going to talk about a few things here. So first, we're going to start by catching everyone up on kind of some of the things that have happened recently in Angular. And recent has a different definition based on who you are. I go to some conferences and I'm like, no, what happened in the last 3 commits to master? Other teams are like, no, what are the 3 PRs that are mastered for next year? That's recent to that. Other people are like, hey, I've been writing Angular code for 2 years now. We're still using the same version that I started using 2 years ago. What's going on? What's new? How do I update? Then I'll also dive a little bit into performance, because performance is a topic that keeps coming up. It's very interesting, because a lot of people, they want more performant applications, but they don't listen to the first steps to get started. So I'll go through some of the most important steps you can do from an Angular perspective. All right. So first, I really think it's important that everyone here understands some of the perspective of why we build Angular, the way that we think about the world. So when we think about Angular, we're really talking about 3 different values. So apps that users love to use, apps that developers love to build, and a community where everyone feels welcome. And that last one, it feels kind of funny, because community, we don't often think about community as being essential to technology, but from Angular's perspective, it is absolutely essential, because when you build an Angular application, you're not just choosing Angular, right? You're choosing the entire ecosystem, tooling, like contractors, all those different companies that are attached to it. All of these pieces come along with an ecosystem. And so that is really essential and really critical to who we are. If it wasn't for the hundreds of thousands of people building applications and the tens of thousands of people building libraries and tools for AngularJS and now for Angular, we wouldn't be where we are today. So it is because of everyone in this room being part of a community that we can make Angular great. One of the really great organizations that I definitely recommend everyone check out is NG Girls. If you're ever interested in supporting people that are learning Angular, getting into the community for the first time, this is a fantastic group. They put on events all over the world at this point, and so they're always looking for volunteers, supporters, mentors, those sorts of things. Or if you know people that are trying to get in and trying to become an engineer, this is all a fantastic group for them as well. One of the coolest parts of my job is that I actually get to watch the community. So every day I get to go on Reddit, I get to go on YouTube, and I get to just like watch what people build. And this is really fun, because every day cool new tools are coming out. So this is a tool from a gentleman named Wasim Chegam called X Layers, where he had this idea that, hey, we've got these sketch files, we have to work with designers, we have to work with interaction designers. Let's actually ease the pattern of going from a sketch file into an Angular application. So he built an Angular application that imports sketch components and then renders them as Angular components. So this is not a solution. This is not going to just solve the end-to-end piping between designers and developers, but it's a step. It's very interesting, right, for a developer to say, hey, what's the layer here? What was the intent from the designer? So this is a really good example. But if you look across the internet, if you follow us on Twitter, if you follow any of the community people on Twitter, you can learn a ton. For those of you, how many people are using the latest version of Angular? Version 8. Okay, how many people are using Angular? Awesome. Okay, so if you're using Angular, you're probably pretty familiar with this, but it's kind of a set to where at this point. So we do releases every 6 months. So we follow semantic versioning. And we've actually done this successfully now for some time. We've done this 5 successful major releases. What we do is every release we're really investing to try and make the release easier than the previous one. Because we feel like we did a rough thing to the community in going from AngularJS to Angular, where everyone had to rewrite their code, they had to learn some of the new patterns and things like that. And it's essential to us that going forward, we bring everyone with us. So we kind of have this idea of like a mental pain budget. How much pain can developers put up with every release? And we try and keep that very, very, very small. the most part, for 95% of 99% of developers, that's literally just a single command line command to get to the latest version. And so there's actually some evidence of this. One of the pieces of evidence is that the majority of the community is actually using the latest version as of every major. So this means the day we release version 7, most of the community was already using 6. As of version 8, most of the community was already using version 7. So this is kind of just a numeric indicator that, hey, people are keeping up with us. So thank you so much for doing that. I'm going to talk a lot tonight about the value of keeping up. But we're also trying to hold the entire ecosystem with us. So I talked about this idea of keeping everyone up to date. But we really see that it's kind of our responsibility to do this. So we're doing things like automating with these cool tools like schematics. So I don't know if everyone here knows, but Angular is built by a team at Google. But as an open source project, we do every commit in GitHub first. But there's over 1,000 projects at Google using Angular, using that open source version. And what we do for every single commit that goes into our repo is we actually validate it across all the thousands of those applications. So we have a mono repository so we can run all their tests, and we can see, did a change that we made to Angular break their test? And if any change that we make to Angular breaks an application, we're not actually allowed to sync it into Google. And so we don't make any of those commits. And so every commit to our master branch is actually already in use by over 1,000 projects at Google. And so the only way that we could ever keep this up is through automation. Right? So if we ever needed to break and change Angular, we actually have to automate it so those 1,000 applications get updated. And so what we've done is we've taken those tools that we had to build internally already, and we brought them out to the community. And that's part of the kind of idea behind schematics. And so with this, we're really trying to embrace a future where you're not being broken by your dependencies, but your dependencies are actually responsible for keeping you up to date. And so this is something we released as an open platform as part of the ecosystem, so that everyone that builds a library in Angular can actually do the same. Right? If you are shipping a component library, right? Here's my company UI widgets, and you need to change your API. You shouldn't go and ask all of your engineers to change their applications to use your new API. You should go fix it for them. So that when they update to the latest version, they are always on the latest version, and it brings everyone with us. This is something that we want to do ourselves, but we also want the entire ecosystem of providers to do. Another really great piece of evidence of kind of the effect of keeping everyone up to date is this blog post by Art from KLM, where they said they updated a website, 500,000 annual users to Angular 7 in less than a day, and actually made a chart, which was going from 2 to 4 to about a month, 4 to 5, a little less, 5 to 6, a little less, 6 to 7, less than a day, same for 7 to 8. So every time that you would ever run into an issue with a major update or any sort of update, let us know. We pay a ton of attention, and we want these things to be seamless. And this is kind of a recurring theme in here. So we really want to get to a point where I've overheard several times, and Reddit is actually notorious for this, where someone will say, like, a routing guide for Angular 7. It's like 6 months later, that guide's going to be out of date in title, but not in content. So if you're talking about Angular, you use Angular, right? We don't talk about what version of Chrome we use. It's just Chrome. Things are going to keep working, things are going to keep evolving, and it's just going to keep getting better. And that's kind of part of how we look at the world. If you're an Angular developer, which I think most of the people in this room already are, life is pretty awesome now, right? We have a CLI that does automation, right? It sets us up with the right standards, it gives us testing out of the box. As of the latest version, we have differential loading, so we're pulling in the right level of polyfills. We've got dependency management, this idea of your dependencies being responsible for updating you instead of you updating dependencies. All of the Angular components in Angular 2 have really, really great accessibility, passing some of the highest standards that we have at Google for accessibility for delivering worldwide government-compliant applications. And even if you still have an application that's coming from AngularJS, we spent a bunch of time just trying to make that process easier. How many people here are still in the middle of migration from AngularJS? Okay, a few of you. So that number goes down every time I give a talk, which is kind of nice. But in the last few years, we've actually been making that easier as well. Angular is relatively popular, so as of 2018, we had about 50% growth year over year. So we'll be coming out with new statistics at some point in the future. So just the docs traffic to our site alone is growing over 50%. So we feel like that's a pretty good lower bound, because we can't actually measure the Angular ecosystem, right? Most Angular applications, we estimate about 90% based on anecdotal data, is behind the firewall, built internal companies where we can't actually see it. How many people are building internal private Angular applications? Okay, so about 50% here. So we don't actually know when you're building Angular applications, right? We're using open source, using NPM. A lot of teams use Artifactory, so we have no visibility into how many people are actually building Angular apps. So we use our docs traffic as a lower bound on that. One of of the things that we've done in the last few months is we actually launched a collaborative program where we want to actually take the contributors that we have to our repo and we want to give them more time, right? So we've always had this concept of you can sit with us, and we want to take that one step further and actually find people that are contributing and help them more, give them more mentorship, invite them to team meetings, those sorts of things. So if you're interested in actually becoming a bigger part of your community, getting more support from your team, the easiest way is just actually start contributing. Right? The primary source that we use to find people that we want to go mentor is who's actually trying to contribute, who's responding to issues in GitHub and so on. So I want to just briefly go through some of the recent releases that we've had. So one of the things that we shipped in 8.0 was actually differential loading. So differential loading is a really, really big deal. This is a strategy where we can actually, using browser technology that's available in all the modern browsers, we can, and Linux browser, we can conditionally load the right type of JavaScript based on what your browser supports. If your browser supports modern JavaScript, we can ship down modern JavaScript. If your browser does not support modern JavaScript, it's going to fall back to the legacy JavaScript. So we did this in 7.x with polyfills, and then we extended it out to your application. So if you are on version 8 and you do a build, you're actually going to get 2 builds. You're going to get an ES5 build, and you're going to get an ES 2015 build. And we ship both of these because there's zero cost, right, to the user. Your user loads automatically the right version of JavaScript for their device. And there's a number of different places this comes into play that people might not even think of. So one of the upgrades that happened in the last few months was we actually updated the Google crawler. So the Google search index is generated by a crawler that used to be roughly on the level of Chrome 41. So it was a legacy browser, right? The Google search index is based on a legacy browser, so to say. But recently they switched over, and if you're using this sort of strategy, you would actually get the best of both worlds, right? Where the device that supports the modern JavaScript is going to load it, the device that doesn't isn't going to load it. We've also updated how we do route configurations. So the router is really, really essential to Angular. So everything from taking a URL state, mapping it into the state of the application, to lazy loading. We used to actually have a custom string format. So you'd say load children, and then you give it a string to refer to your module. And what we would do is we actually build a build step in and we convert that into a module resolution. And so the bad thing about that is you didn't get any type completion, you didn't get any inference about it. This was literally just a string, right? The IDE couldn't do anything with it. What we did in version 8 was we actually moved more towards a standard-based configuration. So it's a tiny, tiny bit more complex where you actually now have to have a function that imports the module, and then you have to resolve to the symbol within the module. But the benefit here is all of this is supported out of the box by both Webpack and IDEs. So that if you mistype about module here, VS Code is going to know that. WebStorm is going to know that. If you mistype about module, if you rename the symbol, that can all happen automatically. There's a whole bunch of other benefits. And you're going to start seeing this syntax a lot more in the future of Angular, because this is the dynamic import syntax that's been standardized across the web. One of the things that we did is we actually worked with a collaborator to bring in web worker generation. So if you ever want to do any sort of data processing that's heavy and you don't want to actually tie up the main thread, because all JavaScript is single threaded, even though it's event-based, it's still a thing single threaded, you can actually create a web worker much more simply now. So you can do ng generate web worker, give it a name, and then if you want to import that worker in a component, you can just say a new worker, and then our build tooling is going to automatically handle all that for you, create a separate chunk for the web worker, only load it where it's needed, do all the right things so that you can just pass messages back and forth from that worker and offload all that data from the main thread. So this is very cool. One of the things that we don't talk a lot about is that in version 8 we started shipping actually a new set of packages called experimental packages for both material design, which is the material design implementation for Angular, as well as for the CDK or the component dev kit. So these are part of Angular. They're a component library that tries to give you both tools that makes it easier to build your own components, as well as give you that material design aesthetic. But it's very hard to change those things. It's very, very hard to try new changes to these because a lot of UX tests are screenshot based. And if you change the border on something by 1 pixel, that fails all your screenshot tests. Right? We know this because we have a ton of screenshot tests at Google. So if you unintentionally move a line 1 pixel to the right, that will fail your change. And so what we started doing is we started actually doing innovation more openly by creating this material experimental and CDK experimental package. So if you want to know what's in there at any given time, we don't document these, we don't announce these, you can just check out the source code on GitHub, so Angular components source material experimental or CDK experimental. And one of the things you're going to see today is that we actually have a whole new version of a bunch of our components that we're baking So these are called MVC components, built off of material design components from the material team. So long story short, originally material design was just a design spec, but recently they actually started to build out actual components or componentry. So not web components, not either components, just pure JavaScript and CSS and HTML. So what we've done is now, instead of maintaining our own version of all those components, we were actually one of the most advanced version. We had the most components, etc. Now what we're doing is we're rebasing our components with the same API on top of that JavaScript, and actually saving a little bit of bundle size and increasing the standardization across all the different technologies, right? So if you have to use multiple technologies in your company, you're going to get a better, more standard experience once these are live. So I think we've got something like 5 or 6 of these pretty much done, and we're working on a bunch more. If ever you want to try one of these out, all you have to do is import from Angular Material Experimental, and then use that version instead. But keep in mind, there's no API promise, there's no sender promise about Material Experimental or CPA Experimental. Another of the pieces that's really important to introduce is a new capability of our CLI that we call builders. So our CLI actually consists of 2 underlying technologies now. On the ng-new, ng-generate, ng-add, ng-update side of things, we have schematics. And schematics is that tool that I was talking about before that just transforms on your project, right? If you bring in simple schematics to be able to update that symbol. If you want to generate a new component, we can add references to that component and add a component on the file system, right? That's what all these commands do. But there's another set of commands that we've had for a long time, like ng-serve, ng-test, ng-build. And all of those work based on a standard API. But what we've done now is we've rebuilt those commands on top of the standard API called builders. So now the entire CLI is basically a wrapper around schematics and builders. The really nice part about this is that makes these CLI much, much more extensible. So we saw with schematics, now you can create your own ng-new experience, you can create your own ng-generate experience, if you want to add your company headers at the top, all those sorts of things. That is very, very easy to do. With builders, we're starting to see people tap into the other capabilities and actually create their own new commands. So in general, if you want to build a builder, you're going to create a reference in your package.json to some sort of builder configuration. That builder configuration is then going to pass off to the TypeScript that's going to actually do the build. So relatively simple builder configuration here. So you're saying, hey, I've got a builder, and my builder I'm writing right here is called deploy. So this is actually an example from the Angular repository. So they've got a link to the implementation, they've got a schema for what their builder is capable of doing, and they've got a description. And then, if you actually take a look at the implementation of that builder, what you're going to see is they're calling this create builder method, and returning a function that takes in a builder context and passes out a promise with builder output. So this is really the chunk of code that you have where you can actually do any of the steps that you want to perform the action you're creating. So if you're creating a build action, this is where you want to build your build. If you're doing a deployment action or a C action, this is where you want to do all that code. And the nice thing is that all these things are composable, right? Like you can create a builder that takes the Angular build, does some pre-work, then does an Angular build that does some post-work, and it all ties in so it feels like an Angular command. You can kind of install these things directly with ng-add. So the example we have today is if you ng-add Angular Fire, that takes your application, adds an Angular Fire dependencies, configures your project for Angular Fire, and then you can really just run ng-run myapp-deploy, which activates the deploy builder and actually will connect you to Firebase and actually deploy out your build application. So this is what we have today, but there's actually something that's a little bit better, just one step closer to kind of what we want for this deployment story that's coming a little bit later. So that was 8.0, but obviously in the last few months we've used a bunch of things. So 8.1, really nothing to write home about. There's some minor features related to AngularJS migrations. Most people will not be affected by these. Like I would be surprised if anyone in here was actually affected by this. But in 8.2 we actually added TypeScript 3.5 support, so we're staying up to date with every minor latest version of TypeScript. So if your team wants to be using the latest version of TypeScript, you always can. But let's turn a little bit to the future, because I think that's probably a little bit more exciting. One of the things that's coming is while Framework has already moved on to working on 9.0, CLI is soon going to be shipping an 8.3 experience. In that experience, there's going to be ng-deploy. So previously, as I showed in that command, you had ng-add Angular Fire, and you run like ng-run myapp-deploy. We're actually making deploy a first kind of party command. So if you just run ng-deploy, that will find the deploy command and run it, just like we do with Builder. So you're just saving the myapp and the run statement, so you just say ng-deploy. This will be a big step forward. One of the other things that's really cool, if you want to try it out on Master or in any of the releases coming up in the next, preview releases coming up in the next 2 weeks, is you actually have a completely new ng-new experience. So you've probably all seen welcome to my app or welcome to whatever you typed in, and it's got like those really old links, so it's been completely redesigned. hopefully with some helpful tips to help you get started adding material or going faster with your Angular application. So super vanity, but it's just super cool. And then it was entirely built with the idea that if you don't want that, you just select all, delete, and then you're building a blank Angular application using the CLI. All right, so we are currently in the framework and tooling setup, right? Framework and we're soon going to be in the framework and tooling setup things in 9.0. So what you're going to see is builds that are called 9.0.0.next. So this is actually a change. We used to call these beta, but what ended up happening is I would get phone calls from press and journalists saying, oh, I see that the first beta of Angular 9's dropped. What's in it? And I would say, nothing. Only a week of work has happened on that new version. And so what we did is we realized that beta was kind of setting the wrong expectations of like, here's all the features of the new release. So we renamed it Next, saying it's actually really, really good, right? It meets all the quality standards of all of Google, right? So every commit has to actually build and work on all of Google, but it doesn't have the feature completeness that people might be expecting with kind of cool new features or breaking changes. So that's one of the big things. So 9 is coming in the next few months, hopefully, and the plan right now is that 9 is going to be the big release where we actually ship IV as default. So let me just get everyone up to speed a little bit on IV. All right, so IV. So today, if you're using 8.0, you're using a compiler and runtime called View Engine. So you never had to know about View Engine before, but a little bit of what it does is you had a renderer that lived kind of in the browser. What happened is it would iterate through your templates, it would iterate through all your code in this metadata format that we created. It would say, oh, is this a pipe? Go run the pipe. Is this a dependency injection? Go run the dependency injection. What happened is this runtime would pull in your code. And so we actually needed all of the renderer, no matter what code you gave it. And so IV is a rethinking where we're actually redesigning the compiler to work a little bit different, where we're actually changed it from a metadata format to an instruction-based format, where when we compile your templates down to JavaScript, we're compiling it instead of to metadata, we're compiling it to instructions. And those instructions are then what pull in Angular, so that if you don't use any pipes, we never need any pipes code. One of the most recent ones that's about to emerge is if you don't use any sanitization, we don't pull in sanitization. And so there's a lot of these little things where sanitization is 16, 17 KB of code, but if you don't need that, that's a lot of code to be pulling in your bundle. So with IV, we've kind of improved the ability to not only tree shape, but I think code split too, because oftentimes what we've seen is that most Angular applications actually use all of Angular, right? Like across a big enough application, you're going to use every single feature that Angular has to offer. But you probably don't need to use every single feature Angular has to offer on your homepage, right? So if you combine this idea that everything can be split into smaller and smaller pieces, with the idea that we can code split and say, only pull in the HTML sanitization when we're rendering HTML, maybe only the details page, then you're making your user get the right amount of JavaScript costs at the right time, which is a really big improvement, something we've been working on for a long time. So with IV, this project, we're nearing the end, but we're really focused on compatibility first. So what we want to do is we want to get everyone over to IV without changing anything about Angular, right? Keep the same APIs, keep all the same applications working just as they do today. And so that's where we're focusing, and that's actually where most of the time is. We actually finished quote unquote IV over a year ago, but that was without all the backward compatibility. So IV worked perfectly, and then we had to make it work with everyone's applications. And so that's taking a lot longer than we thought it would. So if everything goes according to plan, and the plans are subject to change, everyone can heard me say that, right? In October, November-ish, we will be releasing first RC and then onto a final version of 9.0. And we'll, by default, switch everyone over to IV. We'll basically flip the switch, because right now you can opt in and say, I would like to try IV. We'll flip the switch, and then you'll have to say, I want to opt out of IV. And I expect everyone to say, it works. Okay, so what? You said it was cool. You said this is a big deal. This is going to come. We are going to start taking advantage of this, and we actually, like I said, with sanitization, there's a lot of cases where we're going to start taking advantage of this, but there's a lot more to come. Right? So right now, even if you try it today, you'll get smaller generic code. You'll start to leave out parts of Angular you don't use. That's something we can do more and more of over time. You're going to get more incremental builds. Lazy loading is going to be easier. IV opens up a lot of doors for us. So there's some weird, complicated parts of Angular, like when you compile an Angular component, it actually becomes a component ng factory. Does anyone have to deal with ng factories? One. Good. I don't want you to ever have to deal with ng factories. But the existence of this implementation detail means that it's very, very hard for you to resolve code at runtime. Whereas we're actually changing that so that it's easier to create and resolve components at runtime. And that will make things like component level lazy loading easier. There's a bunch of cool libraries out there. Hero Devs has one, there's a couple others that allow you to do component level lazy loading, but we want that to be supported as a first party piece of Angular in the long run. And we also want to make Angular just a little bit more dynamic so you can change things a little bit more on the fly. So those are not benefits you get right out of the box, but those are things that we're working towards in the future that are unblocked and enabled by Ivy in this product. So I would implore everyone here, if you have an Angular version, try out Ivy. So what you want to do is you want to update to the next version of both core and CLI. So you can just run that command and update Angular core at next, and Angular/CLI next. That will put you on the latest version. The reason I want to run on the latest version is because if you get a bug report from something that was released a month ago or a week ago, that's not as helpful because we're actively working on the compatibility and working on that long tail of changes. And then what you do is you go into your tsconfig .app.json, and you're going to change you're going to add an Angular compiler options key with the enable ID true. There's also a guide for this on angular.io/ivy. So I've talked a little bit about some of the things that we're working on right now, but a lot of people want to know kind of where are we seeing the future. And so one of the things that I see us doing is really expanding the scope. So going back to AngularJS and Angular transition, we moved from just being a framework to render to the screen all the way to more of a platform that you can build applications on. Right? And that came with a lot of changes. It came with the CLI, it came with automation, it came with TypeScript, it came with all these tools for keeping the ecosystem together and helping you to build better applications. So what's next? Where do we go from here? So we analyze all the options. So developers seem to wake up in the morning and they go to sleep at night. Generally, this is not a binding rule. But we really think that we can take that and expand it because there's a lot of areas that cool innovation is going on. So pre-rendering is one of them. How many people here have heard of Gatsby? So there's a lot of cool technologies, innovations coming from React community, Vue community, and we think if we can collaborate with those folks or build our own version of these things that is totally tied into the Angular ecosystem, it's going to meet a lot of needs going forward. So pre-rendering is one that we get. Server-side rendering is an area where we're investigating a lot of time. And then also this idea of integrated deployment serving. Because what we found from a lot of our analyses of public internet is we've got really great JavaScript developers building great applications, and they're serving their applications wrong. Right? You take your JavaScript bundle, and you're handing it off to some DevOps person, some production hosting company, and they don't know how to serve JavaScript properly. Right? There's things like content compression, which seem really simple, but if you don't know and you're not doing it, you're actually sending a bundle down to the user that's 4 times the size. So content compression is so huge. We see it done wrong on between 20 and 40% of sites. So if you are in charge of your hosting, go and check and make sure you're using content compression. We're also working on really more advanced server-side rendering strategies. So the default naive server-side rendering today actually takes your Angular application, renders it to HTML, and then we bootstrap Angular on top of it and replace it. But there's some more things, more important things that you can think about where, for example, we're using Google Shopping Express as a kind of guinea pig within Google, where we're pioneering some new strategies where the first time you get to Google Shopping Express, you're going to get a server-side render page. And then we don't actually bootstrap and replace the page. We opportunistically, if the browser is not busy and everything's loaded and the network's not busy, we will download it and bootstrap Angular, but we don't render anything until the user takes their first action. And so you get this kind of best of both worlds where we don't double display anything, there's no screen flash, nothing moves while you're clicking it. But then as soon as possible, it becomes a client-side rich experience, which is very, very nice. So trying to really combine the best of both server-side rendering, where you get the static HTML, and the client-side richness that we get from a client-side application. So we want to even go beyond this. So we talked, gave a very brief preview of a tech demo at Google this year, for example, about what we could do even beyond that, where we see a world where we're doing more interaction-based lazy loading. So for example, imagine if the functionality for a button didn't download and run until you click that button, or until we had some heuristic that we thought you were going to click that button. Because really there's a lot of code for every interaction in your site, and until a user takes that interaction, maybe they shouldn't be paying for that cost, or maybe we can use that as a prioritization view. So we think the user's going to click on these 3 things, let's download those first and get them working, even before we download the rest of the application. So this is dependent on technology called component level hydration, which says instead of replacing the entire Angular application, how do we take one component and just shallowly replace it? And this is kind of leveraging and leaning on a lot of technology built out in Angular elements. So we're really trying to improve what it feels like to be a web developer. Because people have kind of had to make it up, right? All the way back to Gmail in 2004, where it's like, hey, let's do everything in JavaScript land. That was a very hard time. So Angular's kind of vision of the world is that we can make every web developer's lives better out there. So we want it to be batteries included, not just for building an application, not just for workflow, but also for how do we do serving, how do we do performance out of the box. So as we kind of move your applications forward, we want to take advantage of the best of how Google builds software. Take the things that we figured out and just bring them to everyone as automatically as possible. All right, so the last section here is performance. We get a lot of questions about this, and I think it's important to just give people a guide, a roadmap for how to think about performance in their application. So most of the time, this should not be runtime performance. Angular is very, very fast with a component hierarchy with on push, so I'm not even going to address runtime performance. What most people care about is loading performance. So between someone hitting enter key after typing a URL and actually having a fully interactive page, how do we make that faster? So the number one challenge with loading time and interactivity speed is actually bundle size. And it's not just for network reasons, but also for parser reasons. The more JavaScript you have and you send out over the wire, the longer it takes for the browser to actually load that into memory and actually figure out what is this doing. The amount of low-power devices is staggering. So in the US, more than 70% of web traffic is mobile-based. So if you're not thinking about how mobile users and how low-power devices and low-network connectivity devices are going to be using your web application, it might be time to start thinking about that other 70%. And what we've seen is that this varies greatly by region. The number I've heard for example, China is that over 90% of web traffic is mobile. So, and I'm sure it's very, very high in a lot of countries. So I'm going to go through 6 steps, just very, very quickly. There's lots of other great talks that go deep into these, and I'm happy to answer questions later if anyone wants to go deep dive into these or tech demo, those sorts of things. Number 1, measure. So if you do a build of your application with -- source map, it will create source maps for everything you do. And I actually put this directly in my Angular JSON so that every time I do a build, it automatically creates a source map. And then there's a really great tool called Source Map Explorer. So there's other tools, right? There's Webpack Bundle Analyzer, but that is good. I personally like the outputs of Source Map Explorer, so that's why I recommend that one. So you add it globally, and then you just pass the Source Map Explorer the JavaScript you want to analyze. And what this does is it's going to give you a chart like this that says at the very, very top, how big is my application? So this application is 500 KB, and then it breaks it down, the animations that I want to use are 74 KB, because I pulled in the router in my initial routes, 72 KB. I'm using these components from the CDK, I'm using this code. You can actually see and make decisions about your Angular application. So knowledge is probably the most important tool that you need, because we have a lot of teams come to us and say, hey, my bundle size is 14 meg, and a lot of teams say it's like 600 KB. We had one team come to us and say it was 15 megabytes. And we ran this tool, and then we found out that they had a 14 megabyte SVG that was getting embedded in CSS, which was getting embedded in JavaScript. Right. And that's how you get a really, really slow parse time. The second step that I would ask everyone to take is budget. So actually in our Angular JSON, you're going to find this little budgets object. And so previously we have had JavaScript budgets, but we actually now added component style budgets. And so out of the box, we will warn if you're any initial bundle or initial chunk for your bundle is more than 2 megabytes, it will actually fail if it's 5 megabytes. If you can turn this down, you should turn it down. Those are very, very conservative defaults. And then we've actually just added in the latest version, we by default give you component style budgets. So if you have more than 6 kilobytes of component styles scoped to an individual component, we're going to warn you. And then so take control of it and say, hey, how do we want our application to perform over time? The Chrome team has done a ton of research on this, and what they found is that lots of teams are really good at reducing the bundle size of the application. Very few teams are good at keeping it small. Right? When you focus on something, you actually get the right outcome. But when you stop focusing on it, it's very, very easy for things to backslide. So I don't remember the exact statistic, but it was something like more than 50% of the sites that they worked with to decrease the bundle size on had regressed beyond the original size within a year. So budgets are a way to stop that, right? Make it explicit, hey, here's the size we care about, and then let's be able to build, let's actually have a conversation. You can always increase these, right? It's very easy to increase the size, but if you're not paying attention to it, you never can, and you never will. Lazy loading. How many people here already know about lazy loading? Awesome. I think almost every hand. So if you are not lazy loading is the key, right? Do not make your users pay for the JavaScript that they're not using. So lazy loading means in Angular, it's primarily done by the router. So take the routes that a user is visiting can only make them load the code that's necessary for that route. And the nice thing about Angular is if you import some third-party dependency in a component that's lazy loaded, all of that code is going to end up in that lazy loaded component, right? It's all based on where you're doing the imports, or just pure JavaScript, or based on the module imports that you're doing at the module level. Third tip, stay up to date. We are making changes every day to Angular to make it smaller, faster, easier to use. And so if you stay on the latest version, if you don't stay on the latest version, you're not going to get all these little benefits, right? You won't get differential loading out of the box. You won't get all the benefits, right? So I highly recommend, if you're not staying up to date, even one of the previous things I heard is that there's a company, the governance panel saying we can't update. And the developers just did it and didn't tell anyone, and no one knows. It's a lot of companies think, oh, major updates mean major pain, and that definitely shouldn't be the case here. If it is the case, then we're not doing our job. You should let us know. You should definitely reach out to us and say, hey, this update broke me, fix it. All right, serving better. I talked about how important the world is serving. This is something we're really focusing on, because if you're not using things like edge caching, it puts the JavaScript closer to users, where depending on where they are in the world, HTTP2, which allows faster pipelining, so you can actually download more assets faster with less overhead. And content compression. These are three really simple things that are very easy to do wrong. But if you use something like Firebase, a Netlify, some sort of CDN or bucket, these will take care of that for you, right? So that's actually why we spend so much time on ng deploy, is because we want everyone to be better integrated with their hosting providers, so they stop making these simple mistakes. I talked a little bit about the downsides of server-side rendering, but in general, if you're trying to get users' eyeballs code faster, server-side rendering is absolutely the right strategy. So we have this technology at Angular Universal. It's actually very easy to add. One of the things we're doing, and I think you're going to hear more about it today, is we're working with the Nest.js team to try and make a more integrated experience of Angular plus Nest plus Universal, so that we have a kind of end-to-end story of how do I build an application and how do I serve it down to the user with nice live real experience and all those things. So we're actually working with them. But beware of gotchas, right? If you are doing both the server-side rendering of your application and a client-side that's driving on the full giant application, you're actually increasing the time to interactivity. You are making it slower because the browser has to do more work. It has to handle all the JavaScript and HTML that's given, and then it has to do more JavaScript work. So just beware of a couple of those gotchas with server-side rendering, but this is definitely a strategy to consider. So just to recap, we went through kind of some of the perspectives of Angular so that you kind of know where we're coming from on a team, how we see the future, how we see the world. We went through some of the features that have come out in the last couple of releases. You heard a little bit about what's happening in, for example, 8.3 in our CLI and what's coming out in 9 with Ivy. And we talked a little bit about performance. We want all applications to be faster because, again, that goes back to the value of apps that users love to use, right? If we're not making fast applications, the users aren't going to love to use them. So Angular really tries to toe this line between stability and innovation. Because we want everyone's knowledge to be valuable today, tomorrow, 10 years from now. But at the same time, we want to adopt the latest version because, right, JavaScript is evolving very, very quickly. We are getting better at building web apps. This is a good thing. And if we just said, hey, we're just never going to change anything, we would go stale, and no one would use Angular anymore, and that would be a bad thing. So we're really trying to balance these two things on a day-to-day basis and building tools that make it easier to get both of these. We really kind of see a future where people stop talking about the version number and they just get new features every few months, right? Evergreen Angular is the destination and vision and North Star that we have in our mind. I think that's going to be it for me. So if you want to follow up with me on Twitter, @StephenFlynn, if you ever have a bug report, if something's bugging you about Angular, just feel free to yell at me there. Otherwise, thank you so much for having me.